We're moving directly into the next session on youth events. Youth events, a platform for testing new ideas. And now there is a time when people have to speak, and I spoke for quite a bit, but there are times in which people know they should be silent and let the real experts speak. So with this very short introduction, I introduced Virginie Fèvre. She's executive president of Lausanne Olympic Capital. Born in Lausanne, Virginie is an Olympian and 3 times world champion in freestyle skiing. She was appointed in 2019 as president of the organizing committee for the Lausanne 2020 Winter Youth Olympic Games that were mentioned yesterday also by President Bach in many ways. And as a member of the Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympics Coordination Commission, she put her enthusiasm and extensive experience to the benefit of youth sport. Virginie is involved in a wide range of projects in her region and her country. Recently, as I said, she was nominated and she now serves as president of the Lausanne Olympic Capital. So with this short introduction, Virginie, the floor is yours, and please take us through youth events, with your experience, and your leadership.
Thank you, Francesco. Dear representative of sport cities, dear representatives of international sport federations, dear friends, good morning to you all. It is an honor for me to be here at the Smart City and Sport Summit, and more specifically to open this session, which brings together international federations and cities. With the Lausanne Olympic Capital, it is our mission to offer a platform for the international sports federation based in Lausanne and the region. This proximity facilitates collaboration and development of synergies, all aimed at boosting creativity and innovation in the service of sport. Among the many services offered for more than 15 years, this platform allows the exchange and sharing of knowledge between international federation and sport organizations. These exchanges aim to create the future of sport and enable it to be at the forefront of innovation. Today, thanks to the collaboration with Smart Cities and Sport, we're able to extend our network and share knowledge also with cities. It is a great opportunity to strengthen the links between IFs and cities by using sport events as development tools and as platforms for the testing of innovative ideas for youth. There are multiple benefits from this rapprochement. By increasing and strengthening the links between them, cities and IFs are better positioned to understand each other's needs, interests, and challenges. The aim is to improve the success of the partnership, for example, through the hosting of sports events, the development and implementation of sport programs, or by coming together around other opportunities. Lausanne, the Olympic capital, is the place where this is made possible. It is the place where synergies and new opportunities are created every day, building the future of sport. Now, back to this session main topic, youth events. As a former freestyle skier and Olympian, I had the privilege to take part in the most prestigious sporting events as an athlete. Most recently, I had the opportunity to be involved this time, not as an athlete, but as president of the Lausanne 2020 Winter Youth Olympic Games. And as probably you all know, the Youth Olympic Games are more than an event and a youth sport competition. It is an event that includes a series of educational activities and that is intended to be a real laboratory for testing new ideas. I can't wait to be sharing my experience this morning with you, and before that, I would like to give the floor to Lisa, a former ISTS student formed in Lausanne. Thank you for your attention.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for being here today. So thank you, Virginie, for that introduction. And as everyone is so very well aware, and as Charlotte was explaining earlier, the youth is not a problem. Youth is an opportunity. And I think that we're all here today because we understand and we're very well aware of how youth sports and youth sport events can be harnessed, especially by cities, to create further opportunities. So as we're going to continue discussing with this panel that we have here today, among the reasons for the appeal of youth events is the opportunity to engage, empower, and activate youth, and also to capture these opportunities to test new ideas. What kind of new ideas? Well, new disciplines, as we're going to hear today from FIH, the International Federation of Hockey, as well as the World Dance Sport Federation with breaking. And so what we're here today to discuss is what is the best strategy to maximize the benefits of youth events as platforms to bring new ideas to the host city, as well as to international federations. So we're lucky to have here today 4 panelists. Virginie, thank you for being here. And I'll introduce the other 3 without further ado. Our first panelist this morning is Nicolas Mango, the Senior Communications Manager of the International Hockey Federation. Come on up. Thank you. The International Hockey Federation is also known as FIH. Nicolas started his professional career with the French Football Association and later joined FIFA, where he worked in the communications division for 15 years, serving as FIFA's main spokesperson at the 2010 FIFA World Cup. He was also involved in the Olympic football tournaments in 2008 and 2012. After a short break with the Swiss National Television and Radio, he returned to international sports as a senior communications manager with FIH, and we look forward to hearing about FIH's engagement with new disciplines and youth. Our second panelist this morning is a man who has had dance sport running through his veins since the age of 5. Sergei Nifontov, thank you, is the secretary. Sergei is the Secretary General of the World Dance Sport Federation, and Sergei knows this sport inside and out. He brings a plethora of qualifications to us this morning. He was a World Dance Sport Federation sports officer in Spain. He was a WDSF chairperson. He was also a former adjudicator A and PD adjudicator. And as we discussed last night as well, and it's a point to be proud of, in 2010, you co-founded the Conservatorio Superior de Danza in Alicante, Spain. So thank you for being with us here this morning. Okay? And our third panelist, joining us all the way from Richmond, British Columbia, Canada, a city just outside Vancouver, is Serena Lusk, the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Richmond, home to the Richmond Olympic Oval, a legacy venue of the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympic Games, and Richmond is also a certified global active city. In the 17-plus years that she's been with the City of Richmond, she's led the implementation of a number of initiatives with a focus on youth, sport, active living, and community engagement. And of course, as already introduced by Francesco, Virginie is with us. Thank you, Virginie, for sharing some of the exciting opportunities for international federations to connect through the Lausanne Olympic Capital Foundation. And if I may, I'd like to just repeat what it is that Francesco already introduced. You're a former elite athlete. You're the president of the Winter Youth Olympic Games Lausanne 2020. And amongst other roles, you're a member of the Coordination Commission of the Winter Youth Olympic Games Gangwon 2024. So let's get started. I hope, does this still work? Okay. So let's get started. Nicolas, FIH's new discipline of the Hockey Fives is an optimal way to promote worldwide growth of the sport and to reach youth, especially in urban settings. So in fact, if I recall, just this past summer, it was my first summer in Lausanne, and down in Ushi, there was a Hockey Fives tournament that I know the entire community was very excited about. So the floor is yours to share with us on how Hockey Fives operates, and we'd love to hear more about FIH's experience with the growth of Hockey Fives since it was first tested at the Youth Olympic Games in Nanjing in 2014.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for having actually invited FIH to join this really important session. More than happy to introduce to you Hockey Fives, but before that, maybe just a couple of words on hockey. So, you might surely be familiar with the 11-a-side version of hockey, which is the Olympic version of the sport, which has been an Olympic sport for the first time in 1908 already. But there are several formats of hockey. There is indoor hockey. There is also some hockey played on the beach hockey, and there is indeed Hockey Fives. So, Hockey Fives, what are objectives with Hockey Fives? You can see 4 of them here on this slide. First is to raise the awareness of hockey and the engagement towards our sport. Then strengthening our position as a fun, fast, and skillful sport. Then growing the sport, obviously, by recruiting new, young audiences. We're talking about the youth today, really important for us, audiences and players. And fourth, to generate traffic and audiences on our digital channels. Some facts on Hockey Fives, as the name suggests, it's a format of the game which is played by 5 players against 5 players. It's played on a smaller pitch, more or less half the size of the 11-a-side pitch. The idea really is to bring hockey to people in new and unexpected venues. And I'm going to talk at length later about the event which we organized here in Lausanne, because this is exactly matching that philosophy. The urban aspect of Hockey Fives is really interesting for us as well, and interesting for the development of our sport, and also obviously very appealing to the youth. It is, and we are very clear on that, it is a complement to the 11-a-side format. It's not a competitor to it. We even consider it actually as an entry gate towards the 11-a-side format. It is played already in about 70 countries in the world, so it's not completely new, and you alluded to this, Lisa, earlier. It was indeed launched at the Youth Olympic Games in Nanjing, and it was actually, in 2018, even the most attended sport in Buenos Aires. You know, hockey is very, very popular in Argentina, for the Youth Olympic Games as well. Now, what is new, in a sense, is that we as FIH, we've decided to boost a lot the promotion and the growth of Hockey Fives. And for this, we have, amongst others, taken 2 decisions. The first one was we will have a Hockey Fives World Cup. So that's a little bit more, I would say, the competition side of things. And the first one will be played in January 2024, so in a bit more than a year. And the second decision has been we want to organize some events in cities. And this leads us to Lausanne, which was the very first of those events, which took place 4 months ago, early June, very close from here at the Place de la Navigation. And before I speak more in details about this event, I'd like us to play a little video, please. Video, thank you.
So we are off and running. Welcome to the Hockey Fives, everyone. An event here in Lausanne which should really entertain, be full of goals, pulsating action.
Goal, 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 goal!
Thank you. So yes, the event was played on the 4th and 5th of June here in Lausanne. A full venue was built for the occasion. So on the Place de la Navigation in Ouchy, for those of you who know that area. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the idea really was to bring hockey to people. So as you might know, many people are actually going on weekends there to enjoy the sun, to enjoy the beauty of the place, and to get maybe an ice cream. They don't necessarily know anything about hockey, and maybe even less so about hockey fives. So our idea was really, let's go where the people are coming. And so thanks to the city of Lausanne, we set up actually a little venue there with 500 seats around, and it happened exactly what we wished it would happen, meaning that people would just come along, having a walk, looking at what's going on, not really maybe grasping at the beginning what everything was going on precisely, and then just stopping and staying. And that was for us really the big takeaway of this event, that people were curious and they learned actually the sport through that event, and seemed to have a really good time. We had more than 3,000 spectators in 2 days in a 500-seater venue. And it was all free of charge. I'm flying a little bit on the slides. I'm conscious of the time. I spoke already a little bit about the Hockey Fives format. Our positioning, really important, young, urban, exciting. We feel that all of this actually is appealing indeed for the youth, and for us, Hockey Fives, again, is a really important format to develop the sport, especially towards or among the youth. In terms of promotion, we had the event broadcasted in around 11 countries around the world, and we also had our event broadcasted or streamed live on our OTT platform, which is called Watch.Hockey. So anybody around the world could actually watch the event. We did lots of advertising, again, thanks to the city of Lausanne, throughout the cities, through billboards, posters, everything, also in the metros, in the buses, and everything. We organized a flash mob. That was a really cool thing. So a few days before the event, we were with a group of young hockey players from the Stade de Lausanne here. We started at the cathedral, and we went all the way down to Ouchy, and then further down to the Olympic Museum. And we had a couple of stops there, and we were inviting people in the street to play with us, and that was really a lot of fun, and people seemed to like it despite the weather, which was pretty horrible on that day. To be honest with you, you can see a couple of pictures here. We had some hockey initiation. So around the pitch in Ouchy, there were 2 little spaces. You can see them here, and we had some colleagues of us initiating actually anybody to our sport there. And that was full, just frankly, from the morning to late in the evening, just all the time, which was really nice. And we did the same at the end of our flash mob a couple of days earlier at the Olympic Museum. So this is the pictures which you can see here, with the same success as well. Then another initiative which we liked really much, we had the idea actually to contact the Ice Hockey Club of Lausanne, so the Lausanne Hockey Club, to tell them about that event and invite them to play. And they responded positively, and they came, and they had a little, a friendly game against a few hockey players, so field hockey players, if you want. And they seem to have a lot of fun. They want to do it again, and since then we've been in contact. And for us, it was a nice activation in terms of cross promotion with other sports. We did a lot of activation through media, international media, but of course a lot through local media as well, because our purpose was obviously to inform the local population of our event. We had an exclusive interview with our CEO on AP. We had a live interview with the Swiss National TV with him during the men's final. I went for the weekly sports program of RTS a week before, etc. You can see a couple of examples of that on those slides. Here, that was actually
precisely during the men's final. You can see the pitch behind our CEO. On those days, we also had our very first inclusion and diversity days as FIH. The purpose was to convey a message promoting inclusion and diversity, obviously, around 5 pillars: gender, ethnicity, disability, sexual orientation, and age. It was very important for us to have those days. Hockey is a completely gender equal sport. We have 51% of the players around the world are women, 49% are men, so you can hardly be more gender equal. And it was important for us to convey those values during those days, and especially during this event, which again is very much directed at the youth. And you can see here the captain of the Swiss team reading a message for the entire community. Some key numbers to finish. So it was a 2-day event with 10 teams, 5 men, 5 women, more than 3,000 spectators on site, 5.5 million reach on social media, 2 million video views. We did a lot of video. We have actually still a lot of video to even explore because we had a lot of cameras on the umpire's chest, behind the goal, etc. It was broadcasted in more than 100 countries, I said it already, and we had around 40,000 users on Watch Hockey. So in a nutshell, that was our event here in Lausanne. And again, just to insist for us, Hockey Fives really is, we see it as a great opportunity to appeal to the youth and to grow our players base, but also our fan base through that format. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Nicola. And I think it's the Hockey Fives competition that you talk about is a great example of how FIH brought the event to the community versus requiring that the spectators and athletes go to the event. So let's move on to another federation. We have the World Dance Sport Federation. Sergei, you have a lot going on. Just in September, I believe there was the Breaking for Gold Challenge series in Montreal. Last week, you were in Korea for the 2022 World Breaking Championship. Welcome back. And we look forward to watching the coverage of the Euro Breaking Championships in Manchester, which will just be the weekend after this coming. So in 2 weekends will be that championship. So we look forward to hearing how it is that WDSF has harnessed breaking to get the attention of youth, especially those in urban settings. So feel free to
Thank you.
Share with us. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having breaking today here. So, before we will diving into next 10 minutes, why breaking and youth is the perfect match. So I would like to thank to Virginia, to Daniele, to Stephanie, and the organizing committee of Smart Cities and Sport. Just would like to say thank you for bringing breaking here today. A little bit of context before we go into the events and explanations. Dance was always in the human history, which means it will be always there. Now, Olympic movement is embracing this intrinsic human characteristic into the Olympic sports program. So that's a huge step forward. And also regarding the appealing of breaking in terms of a public, let's say, funds, if we look into the Summer Olympic program, we will see gymnastics, which is based on artistic component and also uses music, as we do. It has a huge appeal there. So if we're looking into the winter, Winter Olympic program, we will see figure skating there with the same approach. But breaking is not only an artistic sport, it's also urban. So there is another layer there. So, as we received recently from IOC and Paris 2024, the very good news for us that we are considered as a prime event during Paris 24 Olympic Games, which denote an expectation, also some pressure on us. So, but so far we're dealing. Yesterday I returned from Seoul, from our World Championship, as you mentioned, and definitely it was a good one. We had the pleasure to have Thomas Bach there, also Vice President for Finance of the IOC, and many presidents of National Olympic Committee, so that's denotes some expectation there. So, and before I'm going with further explanation, I would like to show you a video. So, let me see. You see, with one video, you can experience, you can see why breaking is very close to youth, because a movement, music, and it's all the appealing elements is there. As you can see, this was last year on 4th and 5th of December in Paris. It was the championship was held in the iconic place in Théâtre du Châtelet. In the middle of Paris, so which means that breaking can be literally everywhere. It can be indoor, can be outdoor, and as recently Thomas Bach said, that we should go where people are, and we can do that. We can do that, and since this is a congress for cities, among other stakeholders, we can do it on your main square, literally. So, and we can approach to the youth. We can be where youth are. Saying that, I would like to experience some opportunities that we have in terms of events. This is what we did in 2022. You can see Spain Cambrils. You can see Fissy Montpellier in France. You can see Cali, Colombia. Then Madrid. And on 1st of July, our qualification period started, so all those events that you will see will count on the qualification to the OQS, except probably the World Games, because it's unique status. This is the World Championship that I just returned yesterday. So we have all these events. Here I would like to stop a little bit. This represents an opportunity for the cities. We're still evaluating candidacies for our continental championships because it will constitute an important part of our qualification system. So if you're interested in a continental championship in breaking, this is a moment. We still will evaluate our candidacies in further month, maybe 2. So until we have the best possible choice for breaking. So it is a moment for you to consider your bid. So here we have European Games, which is fully integrated in our qualification process because we will allocate one quota place through each continental games where possible. Asian Games, World Championship that will be held in Belgium. We already granted that some time ago. Pan American Games. And here we will end our qualification period on 31st of December 2023. And then we will go directly with OQS. Probably you already heard from the news that we are part of Olympic Qualifier Series, which constitute a very unique and interesting opportunity. We are proud to be part of the sports who will participate there. Definitely it is a urban park, which again highlight the versatility of breaking, and well, we're proud to be a part of that, and I just envision how successful it will be. End of qualification period, and of course, our Olympic Games in August. That's it in terms of our road to Paris. I would like to speak a little bit more detail about events. If you're interested, here we have. I tried to be straightforward, and even we can offer you some quite detailed information in terms of prices, the amount of athletes per countries, officials, so you can have a clear overview of what you need in order to bid for a competition in breaking. So as you can see, World Championship, unfortunately, is already granted. So Continental Championship, that's what I was speaking a little bit earlier, you can still you can still bid for that. We have already some candidates, but as I mentioned, we're still in the process. Then we have 3 levels of breaking for gold competitions, where you can see these further details. I will not mention everything, so if you have an interest, you just can approach to myself or to my colleague Elena, so we gladly will explain you all the details. So, as I mentioned, indoor, outdoor, field of play minimum size is 8 meters. So we really can adjust to the environment. So of course we need to discuss all the details, but as the beauty of breaking, you know, when people start breaking, they don't really need anything. They don't need any expensive equipment. They just can start with whatever they have at that moment. And that's what we're trying to do also for bidders. So we're trying to apply the same concept. So you need really a little to get into the success of breaking. Okay. Recently, by Paris, was considered by far the most cost-efficient event in the program. So. With less, you can achieve much more. So here it's a little bit about how our bidding process is working. It's quite easy too, so you don't have to spend a huge amount of resources in the bidding. It's, as you can see, 2 steps. And probably question and answer part will be on a later stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sergey. It's another great example of how WDSF is bringing the sport to the youth and bringing the event to the community versus requiring that people go to a specific venue. And like you said, not much space is needed. You can do it in the central square. People come to it. People can watch, similar to the Hockey Fives. You put it in the middle of Lausanne, right down, down near the lake, and people walking by, getting their ice cream, were able to just come and watch. So those are 2 perspectives of how to engage youth and how to have innovative events by way of presenting new disciplines, new frameworks, and new types of events for local communities. And so now we're going to transition to the city's perspective. So who we have today, Serena. And so Serena, thank you for coming again all the way from Canada to be with us today. Now, in our earlier conversations, you explained to me the 3 pillars that you've put in place to get the youth in Richmond engaged in sport, and the ways in which the Olympic Oval has been utilized in order to become the top location for community sport, health, and wellness, and simultaneously a center for culture, community, and entertainment. So I'm not going to hold you back any longer. Please feel free to go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm so pleased to be here this morning to represent the City of Richmond, British Columbia, Canada. Before we start, I just will tell you a little bit about Richmond. The city is situated on the west coast of Canada. And sorry, I'm going to have slides, but they're just going to run a photo show, so it can just start running as we go. City of Richmond is situated on the west coast of Canada. We are where the Vancouver International Airport is, so if you've ever been to Vancouver, you've also been to Richmond. And we hope that next time you come, you'll stay in Richmond for a little while as well. We are the home of the Richmond Olympic Oval, and we were one of the first cities certified as a global active city. Our population is about 230,000, so we're bigger than Lillehammer that we heard yesterday, but smaller than Amsterdam, and in fact about the same size as Lausanne, where we are today. We are, as I mentioned, close to Vancouver, so Vancouver has a population of about 2.5 million people, so we do draw on the population of Vancouver as well. Approximately 16% of our population of Richmond is youth, if we consider our youth ages 13 to 24, which we tend to do. So you can see that we, in fact, have an aging population, as most or many Western cities do. So we do really need to focus on our youth in our community as a small percentage of our population. I'll talk a little bit about how we approach youth and events, and how, without question, youth events are really an important part of testing new ideas. But just as important, they can provide a platform for youth, they can participate with a purpose, a sense of accomplishment, and contribute to building our community. So we're very fortunate that through sound planning and investment over many years, Richmond has many places and spaces that support events for all ages, and you'll see many of these coming up on the screen. As mentioned, the Richmond Olympic Oval hosted speed skating during the 2010 Winter Olympic Games. But when we built the building, we built it with legacy in mind. And it is now a massive multi-sport facility. We have a fitness center, we have sport courts, we have ice rinks, we have an international level climbing wall, and we have the Richmond Olympic Experience, which is an interactive Olympic museum. Beyond the Oval and throughout the city, we have community centers in each of our neighborhoods. So each of these community facilities offer sport, recreation, and culture programs. We also have several sport field complexes, 4 swimming pools, 140 parks, 136 kilometers of trails, and 87 kilometers of on-road cycling paths. And we do have a lot of dog off-leash areas as well. So yes, absolutely good places for socialization. And like many places, the social and economic well-being of our community are top priorities for us as we emerge from the pandemic. And certainly sport events for youth and for all ages will be key in this recovery. I'll just talk a little bit about the strategies that Lisa kindly mentioned that form the foundation of how we approach youth in our community and youth in sport in particular. And so our first strategy is our youth strategy. We have a goal to be the best place in Canada to raise children and youth. We focus on building assets in our youth and increasing opportunities for youth in our community through programs, services, and facilities. And this strategy provides guidance to involve and engage youth. And certainly the point was made earlier that I'm not a youth anymore. Most of us are not youth anymore. And certainly the teenagers in my house will tell us that I don't know anything about youth. So we want to engage the youth in our community in planning programs, services, and events. And we do a particularly good job of that, I think. And I'll give you a few examples in a moment. We also have a strategy called our community wellness strategy. We want to take a holistic view at community wellness. So this strategy is one that we've done in partnership with our local school authority and our local health authority. And in regards to youth within this strategy, we have some data that shows that we have a very high graduation rate from high school for our youth. But unfortunately, despite all the investment and facilities that we have in our community, all the opportunities that we have for youth in our community, we do still have challenges with youth being socially connected and with youth being physically active. So similar to the youth strategy, the community wellness strategy identifies the need to engage youth in the planning of opportunities for them so that we can truly meet their needs. And the third strategy is our sport hosting strategy. This is a direct result of being a venue city for the 2010 Winter Games. We have a sport hosting office where we hosted 69 events in 2022, and 48 of those events were focused on youth. And many of these events were traditional events. We have ice hockey tournaments, not field hockey, or we do have some, but more ice hockey tournaments, swimming meets, but we also have more unique opportunities like a skateboarding showcase and a sport climbing competition. So altogether, I'm going to just give you a few examples of some of the things that we have done to respond to these strategies, engage youth, and then we can have a conversation, I think, a little bit more. One of the first and our premier opportunity to celebrate youth and celebrate the positivity of youth in our community is we host a youth week. So I would say this is a little bit similar to Rotterdam's Street Culture Week, but probably not quite as cool yet, but we'll work on that. So we have skateboarding showcases, three-point basketball competitions, singing and dance competitions and performances. And one of the highlights is actually an awards program called the You Rock Awards. This is developed by youth, put on by youth, and they award their peers in the community, and they award adults in the community for supporting youth. It's a really great opportunity. We've hosted a number of venues around the city, and it's really exciting to really celebrate the youth in our community and the people who support them. We've also invested in new facilities that appeal to youth and the hosting of youth-centered events. This includes the new international level climbing wall at the Richmond Olympic Oval that I mentioned earlier. So the wall, along with having learn to climb programs, opportunity for people to become engaged with the sport, but it was also recently a backdrop for the Vancouver International Mountain Film Festival. So it was a great big screen for a topic that was engaging to the type of audience of people that might use the wall, and brought many, many people in to engage with our climbing wall, many youth, or at least of youth age, and really got to experience the oval and the climbing wall in a different way. Also at the Oval, the Richmond Olympic Experience, our Olympic Museum, showcases sport through traditional displays, artifacts, interpretation, but it also includes sport simulators. So you can try bobsleigh within an indoor environment and check it out and be exposed to the sport that way. And our newest simulator is a surfing simulator. So you can go in a small room that's rounded and essentially feel and try surfing for the first time in that environment. So we're not like Montreal. We don't have an opportunity to do it in a real way with water, but you can certainly do it at the Oval that way. We've invested in other outdoor spaces, bringing a 3-on-3 basketball tournament that was tucked away in a neighborhood, and we've brought it into our city center. This was a great opportunity to expand, bring in more participants from further away, and really showcase the event in a bigger way in our community. Beyond facilities, we partner with a number of organizations. Whitecaps FC is our Major League Soccer club. We partnered with them to put on a soccer showcase or football showcase, which was really a great opportunity. The Whitecaps were looking for the next great player, but also representatives from universities and colleges came and were able to see the youth in our community and the youth from other communities in there. So all of these initiatives together certainly help support the city's goals of developing and supporting youth. They also support our tourism strategies. They put heads in beds and give opportunities for economic development through providing services like event infrastructure, supplies, and food services. And finally, I just want to also speak, and I failed to mention at the beginning, Richmond is very flat. It's similar to Amsterdam, where we're surrounded by dikes. But because of its topography, we have the opportunity to be very easy to get around for people who have accessibility challenges. So we host a number of parasport events. Often they are focused on adults, but they are great opportunities for youth to see what's possible in the parasport arena. So overall, investment in youth and youth events is an investment in the future of Richmond, and youth events are important to our community to help support community pride, grow our tourism economy, and give youth a space to thrive and be successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Serena. And the Olympic Oval sounds like a great example of how the city has utilized this space to create opportunities not only to introduce youth to sport, but to reinforce their opportunities to engage them and also to activate the wider community. So while we're going to move to our fourth panelist, who we've already had the pleasure of listening to at the beginning of the session. So I'm not even sure where to start. Lausanne is a city we all know and love. It's a city for international federations to reach new heights and also for people to achieve their goals. So I'm not sure what could be missing from the equation. You have the engagement of youth through academic partners. You have the use of the city as a host for sport events, as well as sport and community festivals. And as the Lausanne Olympic capital rightly says, Lausanne is a place to think sport, to develop sport, and to do sport. So it is the home of international sport. Virginie, how about we show the video of the Lausanne en Jeu, a festival which took place in January 2020 during the Youth Olympic Games. And I know that you were an integral part of orchestrating this, and it obviously required Herculean efforts. So if we could play the video of the Lausanne en Jeu, and pardon my pronunciation. Excellent. So Virginie, that is an excellent example of how the event was used not just as a sport event, but as a festival for the broader community. So would you care to elaborate a little bit on that for us?
Sure, Lisa. As you said before, I don't know exactly where to start about the Lausanne en Jeu. So let's start maybe with the DNA of the Youth Olympic Games. As you all know, it's an event made by the youth, with the youth, and for the youth. And our plan, first, we had an important mission to to deliver is to bring special activities for the athletes, to prepare them for the rest of their career. And also we had our targets, Gen Z, the school children that would come to watch this event, and how we could offer them more than just coming to watch a sporting event. So for us, it was important to give them a bigger experience, and for also the teacher when they would come to Lausanne and watch a competition for 1 or 2 hours, and then what would they do? So first, the idea was to offer them sport initiation, bring them also experience the sport outside of the field. And then the idea grew up way further. It was a project led by the city of Lausanne in close collaboration with the organizing committee, because it asked a lot of resources to deliver such an event. More than 300 activities during 2 weeks, free of charge. The event was only for the schools during weekdays and during daytime. And during evening, it would be open and the weekend for the public. So it was great that the kids would come and experience the festival during the week, and then they would say to their parents, "Oh, we want to go back, and we go back to Lausanne-Angers and bring all the family, all the generations together there." Activities, we're talking sport initiation, we're talking about bringing sport and culture together. Great collaboration, opening the museum with sport exhibition, sport movies, medal ceremonies, concerts, and were many more activities. And that started small and went way bigger than expected, to bring the spirit also of the games in the heart of the city, in the street of Lausanne, not in one special plaza. We got inspired by Buenos Aires, by Lillehammer also. We wanted to make the whole city and be experiencing the games. Angers, the label also was used after by the host cities. Lausanne created the project, but after they all find the idea great, and we had Les Diablerets Angers, Les Angers, and Saint-Moritz Angers also, that some of you will go to Saint-Moritz at the end of the week. So it was a great example how we can activate, engage first with our targeted group, but also with a wider range, and get more than sports fan into the event. And last, a little anecdote also is in Lillehammer. They had also a kind of sport festival that inspired us. And 2 kids that won a gold medal in the curling team, Norwegian curling team, they learned curling during the festival in Lillehammer. So we can say that really inspires different aspect and different chance to have a career in sport, but also different inspiration.
Oh, thank you. It's certainly, seeing through from the video and hearing more about it, I'm sure it's the type of event that a lot of cities or federations who are here today, and both in person and online, can aspire to host something similar. So, thank you for, pardon me, that wraps up the presentations from our panelists today. So if I may take the liberty of asking a question to all 4 of you. After that, we'll open the floor to questions from the audience feel free to ask whatever it is, but I'll start, if I may, by asking the question to each of you, which is, what are the benefits to the international federations and to cities to hold this type of event. And by this type of event, I mean more than just the sporting event. So using this sport event as the core of the event or the festival and having additional components such as gastronomy, music, other types of community engagement events around the sport event. What are the benefits experienced by federations and or cities? Don't all speak at once.
Well, I can start.
Go for it, please.
Certainly on the city's part, the benefits of a holistic type of event for youth or for any age really is the opportunity to engage more people. Yeah. And so whatever the goals of the event might be, there's more opportunity for economic development in the community. There's more opportunity for engagement of the citizens, whatever the particular goal of hosting that event. It's just about reach, really, and certainly people who have different interests are going to become more engaged if there are more opportunities for that across the event.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think for us, and I've tried to allude to that during the presentation earlier, I think it's a great opportunity to showcase your sport from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you're organizing a World Cup, for example, you're going to be celebrating in the first place the elite level of the game somehow, and it's going to be very competitive. The Hockey Fives events we organize here in Lausanne, the purposes were obviously different. It was about engaging, especially with people who would not necessarily know our sport, mm-hmm. and then potentially have the opportunity to convert those people into new hockey fans, and also organize around the event itself things like the initiation, which we did, or there was also DJ music and all that. And then you give again to your sport a slightly different perspective from an event. And then I would completely agree with Serena earlier. I think indeed, surely for cities, I mean, talking to cities, I think the big advantage for you is that you're not only organizing a sport event, which is again essentially a competition, you're organizing an event as such.
Thank you, Nicola. Go ahead.
I would speak about senses when, for example, when we're speaking about breaking, we can speak also about graffiti, which is an integral part of the culture. We can speak about music, which is hip hop. Mm-hmm. So that's when as you said, in a holistic approach, and for me it's curious, but for me it's always like a commercial center where you have everything at one place. Okay. So, and what's happening with commercial center, that the shop that we have on our street, somehow it's left there, but commercial center has this power to attract, mm-hmm. because everything in one place.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If I can add, for sure, we talked about engagement, promotion of our sport, culture, and all those aspects. But don't forget also, you can activate your partners. It's a great field for them also to use that space and also be happy to promote and engage, activate their partnership.
Okay. Thank you. I guess we'll open the floor to the participants, either online or in person, if anyone has a question. Otherwise, I have more ready. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Wendelin from the city of Rotterdam. I wonder, do you have a vision on incorporating esports, gaming and gamification into your plans to reach new audiences?
Great question.
Maybe I'll take it first, but we did during the Lausanne Enjeu. It was an old space that was dedicated for e-gaming, e-sports, and it was really successful, and we get lots of attendees, and yeah, it was really positive.
Very much so for us as well. And actually, your question is very timely, because in a couple of hours, you'll get some news around that coming from our international federation about a manager game which we are launching. And we're very happy about that. And yes, definitely, esports is something we're looking at very, very closely.
We're working on that. So, yeah, it is a challenge.
Yeah.
So we need to understand that world. We need to understand. But to be honest, we are focused on the Olympic Games like that. So that's for us is very, very important. And of course, we are looking in that direction because we understand the opportunities. But we need to also explore what is really behind. We need to understand it well, and definitely to move in this direction. I don't think we have other choice.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it's certainly been a big topic of discussion for us, and I think one of the challenges that we are having with it is thinking about values and aligning esports with values. So certainly we've had the conversation around esport competitions at the Richmond Olympic Oval, and we've not been able so far to align some of the values in the more popular games, which would lead to more participation with the values that we have around physical activity, participation, et cetera, at that venue. So there's private esports happening in our community. Our libraries are involved in esport, but our sporting venues at this point, we haven't been able to find good alignment. So it's an ongoing conversation in our community. Yeah.
And I would imagine that it's going to be a long process to try to find that balance, as you mentioned, with it, trying to identify and align on the values. Yeah. So thank you for that question. Thank you for the responses. Are there other questions from the participants who are here today? Anybody else? There's one in the back.
Hi, Neil Rajani here. Just wanted to talk about conversion. So you talked about the new formats and the new sports and engaging new youth, but how do you go from new to the sport to engaged and a regular participant with your cities and countries?
Thank you. No, thank you for the question. It's a tough one. I'm thinking about the new sport. You're talking about new formats. Maybe urban sports like breaking. Those sports are more accessible, and sometimes we don't need material or anything, and we can just give it a try like that, parkour and all those less traditional sports. And sometimes it's easier to engage with those new formats, new sports, and use them also as a complementary of traditional sport.
For us, I would say the engagement is a double-fold one. There's a physical engagement and there is a digital engagement. So on the physical side of things, I mean, clearly we know that for a number of countries even, it's not necessarily a given that they are able to play 11-a-side hockey, because you need some facilities which potentially do not exist there, right? So it's the big advantage of, or let's say one of the big advantages of five-side hockey is that it will enable those countries precisely to have a team, to launch some clubs, to potentially even reach one day a World Cup, or at least to qualifying, to exist on the international scene. So that's the, I would say, physical side of things. And digitally, well, as you've seen, I hope, maybe through the video, it goes so fast, the match format is so short compared to 11-side format, then obviously you can use this also digitally to precisely increase your engagement, especially with the youth.
I pass this one.
Okay. I'll just add on this one, certainly from a city's perspective, it's about supporting these new and emerging activities, and that can mean, and we're into logistics, but that can mean actually taking away space and facilities from more traditional or established sports and activities, and there can be a real tension around that, certainly, but we do work very hard to ensure that there's equity in allocation of facilities across our city, that we sometimes give new and emerging sports, in fact, more support than we might some of the more traditional sports, in order to, because we understand that these new and emerging sports may be appealing to a different audience, youth, that we're not reaching as well. So there's some tension in it, definitely, but they need the support to get going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it all resonates, I think, with what was said at the first session on the 7 E's for how to engage with the Gen Z and youth. So thank you for your responses. Thank you for the question. We have just a couple more minutes before we're let go for some coffee and networking. I see 2 more questions, so if we can quickly take both, I'm going to start talking quickly. If we want to go ahead. Go ahead, raise your hand on right there. Yep, we got you.
Hello, congrats to everyone. I'm Andres Vergara from the IOC. And this question is a little bit more for the federations, but I would be interested, what are your events bringing as long-term benefits to the host cities? What's your legacy? What's the promise you offer regarding youth, but not exclusively? Thank you.
Okay, I will start. Well, first of all, due to the background, breaking is doing a social contribution to any city where it's done. So because we're going where in some cases we can find situation where the breaking athletes are with really low resources, and then from this point, we're offering all the road to the best platform of them all, Olympic Games. So and many of them we're experiencing right now. A few days ago, I received an email from our French Federation that some of the best athletes receiving a help of 40,000 euros per year, which is an amazing thing. So that's the power. Okay, and of course, when we're speaking about the legacy, we're giving them an opportunity to do what they love to do and live of their love. So that's really truly amazing and truly transforming from something to something. As the other day where we had a visit to the Olympic Museum and the backstage, and you can see the transformation from a simple T-shirt from a Youth Olympic Games into something else, being in the museum. That's kind of transformation, that kind of legacy we will leave in those places where breaking is held as a competition or as an activity. So that's kind of transferring from something trivial to something really really completely different. So and being an IOC as a representative and amplifier or louder these kind of transformations.
So from our side, a couple of things. Facilities is definitely one of the legacies that's clear. To give you an example, we're having our Men's World Cup in India in January, and we will play for the first time in a stadium which is being finalized as we speak. It's going to be a 20,000 seater. For us, it's huge. And it's the biggest stadium in India and probably one of the biggest in the world. And I'm not sure, frankly, if that stadium would have been built without the World Cup being assigned to India. Then, when it comes to Hockey Fives, I think it's a great opportunity for cities, but also for our national associations to see that they can develop hockey there without necessarily having to go for an 11-a-side pitch, because literally, as we showed here, it can be installed anywhere. It can be temporary, it can stay. There's a lot of flexibility around that. So I think that's definitely a legacy. And maybe a third one, I think it will help definitely the promotion of the sport in the country. We are, I mean, clearly, you know, let's speak openly, hockey, apart from a couple of countries, is not the most popular sport in those countries. And for us, the fact that we are giving events to those national associations, summer national associations from various areas around the world, precisely give them a huge opportunity to promote the sport in the country, and this is here to stay.
Thank you. And apologies, very last question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm Paolo from International University Sport Federation. Thank you for the panel and for all the presentations that were given. I just have two quick questions within the context of the panel, which is youth events. So I'd like to understand what you define as youth. I mean, is it up to 16 years old? Is it 16 to 20? I mean, in FISU, we have a bracket, an age bracket, which we consider them to be youth up until 24 years old. And all of our events are oriented for that. The other question I'd like to understand is, do you undertake any studies? I'm speaking probably more to the IFs. I know that the city and the organizing committee have a different approach, but more to the IFs. Do you undertake any studies with your members or with grassroots to effectively understand what youth want? I mean, maybe they don't want hockey fives. Maybe they actually like 11. So just curious to understand, because we do this, and I'd like to know a bit more about that, please.
So 2 parts to the question. First is, how do you respectively define youth? What age brackets? And then specifically for the federations, as I'm sure you heard, are there studies undertaken to see what it is that youth actually want? Age bracket for youth, how is youth defined?
12 to 24.
12 to 24?
Well, we're depending on, if we're speaking on Paris Olympic Games, so they have to have, at the moment of the game, 16, so now they are younger.
Okay.
And when we're speaking about Dakar 2026, so they should comply with 14 years in that moment. So now they are younger. So depending on the target itself, so we're planning accordingly.
Okay.
Our Junior World Cups are for players under 21, so I would define the youth category as this.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
And yeah, Youth Olympics is 15 to 18, but otherwise, between 0 and 20.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. And then the second part to the question was, what studies are being undertaken, if any, to understand what it is that youth actually want? Or maybe nothing's been done yet, and that's a room for opportunity.
I mean, in all honesty, we don't have precise studies on that, but we go very much through our national associations. And again, on Hockey Fives, as I said during the presentation, for us, Hockey Fives is not a competitor to Hockey 11-a-side. On the contrary, it is a complement, and we see it as an entry gate towards Hockey 11-a-side. So it's very, it's an offer, but it's not, it's not more.
In our case, I'm not sure if the question is really to us, because when we're speaking about youth, we are always studying what the youth need in terms of our sport. Like this is a bracket, okay? Not what generally youth wants. So we don't do that because probably we are not the right body for that. But definitely when we're speaking about youth, we're measuring like digital engagement, and we can say that it's, in our case, it's now 40% over of regular fun of Olympic Games. For example, in our case, it's at about 10% over in terms of gaming. They're very into that. So when we're trying to understand that kind of behaviors, and also we're now trying to, of course, as I mentioned before, our focus, absolute focus is Olympic Games. This is something that's untouchable for us. But then, of course, we're trying to understand what is their preferences. And honestly, the studies are very, very good. We have one recently with Iris, which give us a lot of information, valuable information, but the best study is when you go to the competition and you talk to them, and you look to them, and you just engage with them. Then you understand and you just observe their behavior, and that's the best of them all. So just...
Thank you. So we'll use this opportunity to wrap up. Thank you, panelists, for being here. It's apparent with the questions that are coming from the audience, thank you so much, that youth events and ways to engage youth, especially in sports events in cities, is a hot topic right now. And I know, as my dad always told me growing up, the more I learn, the less I know. So I think while we all have learned a lot over the past hour and 10 minutes, I think that there's a lot more to continue unfolding. So enjoy the coffee break that I believe is coming up right now.
Yes, just in terms of timekeeping, we are getting better. We are still learning. So, you know, if they invite me back, I mean, which is not taken for granted, and if they tolerate my lateral thinking and everything, can you imagine how good, I mean, we could be in terms of, you know, diligent, time-conscious, timekeeping, I mean. But no, let me thank, I mean, the delicate, agile, but smart style of moderation by Lisa, the introduction by Virginie. I think it was great to see the power of Lausanne as an Olympic capital. Do check on the website. In terms of the coffee break, I mean, and that's what you are expecting, and the marketplace. The marketplace is taking place next door, and the coffee break is in the same room. The marketplace is the place where the cities and stakeholders meet with the International Federation and the sport ecosystem, and the objective is to connect cities with sport. So coffee break and come back at 11:30 sharp. You will be hearing the bell ringing. Thanks a lot, and thanks, I mean, again for the panel, I mean, for the session.